Okay, I think we are live. Hey, and welcome back to Revamp Your Repertoire. I'm your host, Marin Maltabano. I am just so thrilled again to be back and talking about repertoire, talking about just sort of sharing my knowledge of how I got to where I am, and maybe hoping that you can take it. Hey, Cherry, you're on. I'm so glad to see you. I've been thinking about you. And Vincent's here. Awesome. Yeah, if you are watching, go ahead and comment. I'm so tickled to start. So, as we get started, I'm just really curious to see if anybody got a chance to do the homework. Now, I know this is not a graded course right here. So if you don't have a chance to do the homework, that's fine. This is something for you to do as we, as you go through your life and try to figure out exactly what you are trying to accomplish. But I did notice, hey, Andrea, I did notice that a couple of people have commented on last night on this video. There's also the video that I uploaded to YouTube. It's the same video, just some people aren't on Facebook. So I wanted to reach out to those guys as well. But I'm just curious if anybody got a chance to look at their audition materials and what your thoughts were on that. So if you did, go ahead and put that in the comments. I'd love to hear. Also, again, some housekeeping. Don't forget, I am running this social media challenge. So, if you want to post on social media, you will get points. Points will lead to prizes. First prize is a full scholarship to my online program. Second prize is a bundle of books that I think might really help you on your journey. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go for post on social media and tag me, and yeah. Dave Bickle is here. Yeah, I'm so glad we're all back. All right. Before I get started for real, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a question that Cherry brought up yesterday. About cultural appropriation, because I've been thinking a lot about this last night, and I think that it's so important, especially as white people, because I know that a good portion of the people who are watching are white, and I'm white. I'm a quarter Chinese, but look at me, I'm white, and certainly have a lot of the and have had a lot of the advantages of being white as I've been growing up, and I think that it is important for all of us to, as we're looking at music that is written by people who don't look like us, or who we are not a part of that group, to consider why we're doing this, and be sensitive to the, people whose music this is. I think that includes just listening, doing research, and really tuning into what feels right in here. Look, if there is music, this is what this whole thing is about, is looking around at the music that's written by people that aren't necessarily, who you are a part of, that group that you're a part of. So, I think that it's so important for all of us to expand our minds, our worlds, all of that kind of stuff. But it's also really very important to be sensitive. And I'm just going to bring up a little story about something that happened earlier this year to me. I was asked to perform at a concert. It was a recital. I just had one set. I did not choose the music. The presenter gave me music to sing. And it happened to be a set of pieces by Florence Price, who is a Black composer. Really, God, you should check out her art songs because they're so freaking good. But one of the selections had a Langston Hughes poem that essentially indicated that the singer was Black, right? Like it says something, this is beautiful, this is Black like me. And I thought about it and I wasn't sure exactly how to approach this because it didn't feel right. It really didn't feel right for me to sing something about how I was Black because I'm not. And so I brought it up with the presenter. I, sat down, I wrote an email, and you know what, to their credit, they were like, "Oh my gosh, totally makes sense. Absolutely, I understand. Do you have anything that you'd like to sing instead of this?" And, took a 5-minute search and I found other Florence Price songs that actually fit in my voice even better. So this is just sort of like, I just wanted to tell that story to underscore the importance of really checking in with yourself, and if whatever music that you're singing aligns with who you are, that's the kind of music that's going to make you shine. When it doesn't align, people will notice. Okay, let me just check the comments. We got some more comments. Great. Vincent's moving. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Lauren. What do you do with your iPad organization for personal rep? Very, very good question. So, with my iPad, what I do is I actually, with each thing that I upload, and I can go into this in more detail at another time, but I go in and list each piece and put in like all of the metadata, like who the composer, and then I give it a category. So like have vocal, and then I'll have like a tag, and I'll put tag audition. So I can like search for audition repertoire just by the tag. Cherry does that. Great. Okay, you already answered that question. After seeing your cast yesterday, I started looking for new repertoire for next year's choruses. Great, Dave. Awesome. My Dream by Florence Price. Yep. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there's so many really good Florence Price art songs, and there is actually a book, like a whole anthology of her. I think it's like 52 songs, and all of them are just mwah. Jennifer, hey, yes. Yes, this will be available later. You can always check it out here on Facebook, and I'm also uploading it to YouTube. So there you go. All right. So let's get going to day 2, which is Know Your Artistic Superpower. And this is just more fun exercises. And the reason that we're kind of delving into who you are is really, it has a lot to do with like making sure that the music that you perform is aligned with who you are, because that's like the secret sauce. So one of the things that you can do. Yes, Cherry, thank you so much. I knew it was classical vocal rep. Yes, thanks for putting that in. Yeah. Okay, so asset mapping. Sorry, I'm gonna like focus on this instead of the comments. I already explained why we're asset mapping. So defining who you are is going to make it easier to go towards your goals and attract the right audience. But this is essentially, okay, the words asset mapping sounds like so very, I don't know, like it's a little clinical, but essentially what it is you are going to take a piece of paper and write down all of your assets. And this can come from all sorts of different places in your life. Like, it's not just like, oh, I can, belt up to a D or, something like that. It's more along the lines of like, what are your skills, your experience, your network, your resources, knowledge, interpersonal qualities. And the reason that you are going to write down all of these things and really try to list out like 20, you really want like a lot on this page, is that once it's all written out, you'll be able to draw lines around the assets, or like from one asset to another, and really kind of further define either what you stand for, or maybe get some ideas for different projects, or whatever. So for example, let's see. So let's start with like the different kinds of assets. You've got skills. So for me, that would be like my skill. I have singing, writing. I can play the violin. I'm good at organizing stuff. I'm pretty tech savvy. But also I spin yarn, and I knit and garden, and I can sew. So like I would put all of those skills down, even if they're not related. Experience is another kind of asset. So for me, like I've got a lot of performance experience, recording experience, arts administration. I've worked in different kinds of corporate offices, that kind of stuff. Another asset is your network. So for me, my network is, a lot of the people that I've performed with, like here in the Philly music scene, the new music scene. I have a lot of composers in my network, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. My network is also like my high school alumni and my college alumni. AGMA, that's how I know Cherry. So there are all sorts of different kinds of networks, like my Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, network. And that's all of those are assets. Okay. Resources are another asset. So usually when people think of resources, think about time and money. People are also a resource. And I think that it's important. This is really where, like, when you start thinking about resources, a lot of times people start thinking like, I don't have enough, fill in the blank. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough people to help me, or whatever. And in this exercise, first of all, I think that it's really important to kind of like switch that thinking anyway, because it doesn't serve you. But as you're writing down all of your resources, it's also really important to think about, like, you are incredibly resourceful, right? And you can be really resourceful. So, one thing that all of us have right now is time, because we're not doing any gigs. So that's a great resource. Your networks are a resource, and your money is a resource. Another asset is your knowledge. Okay, so these are the things that you have over the course of your lifetime just learned. For me, I know a lot about new music. I know a lot about singing and spreadsheets and databases and stuff like that. So like just write down all of the things that you are just know and you could probably teach other people about. And then the last asset, and this is actually really, really important, is interpersonal qualities. Okay, so this is like, I'm like friendly, collaborative, supportive, that kind of thing. So just like write down all of the things that like you feel like you are at your best and will be an asset for you as you move forward. So you've got like all of that stuff written down, and again, like this is something that you can use far in the future, not just for thinking about your repertoire, but for example, for me, like I could come up with a project. Like I spin yarn and I sing new music. So I could conceivably think of like a project where I am spinning yarn live and like work with a composer on like, you know, some sort of like thesis on Gretchen am Spinnrad or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe flip the script on that. Yeah. So like there's like a whole bunch of different things and ways that you can take these seemingly disparate assets and put them in to create your unique value proposition, essentially. So that's part one, is creating an asset map. Now, part two is kind of like the question of this is where we're going to get into your superpowers, right? So like, who are you when you are in peak flow? Like when you're in the zone and everything is going right. So now you can list out your artistic superpowers, which I think, you know, for this particular exercise will be more along the lines of like, you know, are you good at extended techniques? Is bel canto more your style? You know, certainly there are people who like are great at singing Wagner and like really, really struggle with early music. And that's all about the instrument that you have in your body and also the things that you like to sing. So, you know, for me, like I like to, you know, I jokingly refer to my mezzo mix as my superpower, because it's very difficult. I've been working very hard at it. It's very difficult to tell like where my breaks are. But I also have like my superpower of sight reading. I'm a very good sight reader. And I have perfect pitch. So that's also a superpower. And I think that like, as you narrow down what your superpowers are, it'll help you really clarify what kind of music you want to perform. Okay. And then so here you are in your peak zone, peak flow, right? You're in the zone. You've got your superpowers. Really think about that. And the other sort of thing that I'd like you to define are your values. And those values are more like, what do you stand for and what do you stand against? You can think of this in a pretty broad kind of mythical superhero sort of way. You know, for me, these are my values, right? I stand for the elevation and amplification of women's voices in the world. And I stand against those who would silence those voices. Now that is something that like I've done these exercises before, and I've narrowed this down, and that's my mission, is to amplify and elevate women's voices. So, you know, that like when I say that, when I feel that, I feel really strong and centered. So kind of like play around with that. Play around with, you know, what do you stand for as an artist? And in order to stand for something, you need to stand against something too, you know? And the more, the stronger you feel inside, the more it will show on the outside. Okay, so there we go. That was the stuff that I wanted to talk about. To find your superpowers, you need to do an asset map and then figure out who you are in that peak flow. So for your homework, I'd like you to think about who you are in peak flow, Your career, think about it like your career is as high as it can be. Your performances are off the charts. Like people are just throwing stuff at you on the stage and it's not tomatoes. What are the top 1 to 3 artistic superpowers that you want to be known for? So that's what you've got in here. I'm just going to put that in the comments. Hold on. I'm going to type this homework. Okay. There you go. So that's your homework for the day. And I'm curious to see what you come up with, because I can already tell that the people who are interacting, who are on this call, you guys all have pretty amazing superpowers that I can see. And now I want to know what you can see about yourself. So cool. That's it for today. And I will see you tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat channel. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.